Good afternoon. George Freestone back again with the next installment in our baseball journey, the chapter by chapter serialization of Carol, my wife, and my visits to the 30 current and 4 obsolete baseball parks. And today we're at Yankee Stadium, the new Yankee Stadium. And what's significant about that is in part exemplified by what's behind me. You can see number 13, and for those of you who know the 2013 Yankees, you'd know that that's Alex Rodriguez. And we'll talk a little bit about Alex when we talk about the game shortly. But for those of you who've been following along, you know that I always try and get garbed up for the game. And indeed, today I have my Yankee jersey, and we'll keep as a little bit of a mystery until the end of the presentation today who that jersey is for. And secondly, we have a very attractive orange and black Detroit Tigers cap. For those of you who have been following along, you know that this particular trip that Carol and I took started out with a drive to Boston. We saw the Red Sox at Fenway there. Then on the way home, we stopped in New York City, stayed right off Times Square, and first saw the Mets at Citi Field. I've talked about that to you in the last chapter. And we finished up this trip by talking about the Yankees. So, with that, I think we're going to go to the slide. And so let me share my desktop. And then let me get us to the appropriate slide and maximize that for us. Okay. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this slide again in the order of the bullets that you see over on the left. You see a lot of pictures here, and we'll go through many of them as we talk about the bullets that are on the slide. Again, I want to call your attention to the fact that this area, which recaps the final for this game where the Yankees won, but in 10 innings, it took them 10 innings to beat the Tigers. And it was a little bit of an exciting game, too. We'll talk about that as we go a little further. But if you click on this, where it's going to take you is to the baseball reference resource and more data than you want about this particular game. So a very helpful resource and a link that you might want to explore as you're trying to familiarize yourself with some of the things that maybe I don't talk about here. Okay, so let's start going through the bullets on the left. Carol and I tended to visit many basilicas, cathedrals, churches, and the like. And the first request over there is to name that church, and it's talking about this particular church. And John, I forgot to make the mouse a little bit bigger or maybe a different color, but it's in the left center, and I'll try and do better for our next recording. But this church is the inside. In 2013, when we were in New York City, they were doing massive renovations to this church. This happens to be the inside of the very beautiful St. Patrick's Cathedral. And then I told you this was a significant game, and the reason why I had Alex at the plate in the what was behind me on Zoom. But this actually was the first game that Alex came back to play after his suspension for steroids. And at this particular game, the Yankee fans were a little bit skeptical to begin with, but given Alex's performance, he did not get a very warm reception. And we tended to be up close and personal. We were off third base, and Alex, as you know, played third. So here he is in the center, lower center, right off third base there, and we got a good shot of him. And here he is at the plate. And as the note says here, he went 0 for 4. He struck out 3 times. The fans were all over him. He was booed mercilessly, and we had a great pair of seats to enjoy the game. We also saw another notable Yankee in this game, particularly this fella right here in the center right, Mariano Rivera, um, came in to try and save things for the Yankees in the ninth inning. He came in with a lead. I think it was a 2-run lead. Um, and unfortunately gave up a double. And then Miguel Cabrera, who you see right here in the top of the ninth, hit a 2-run homer off Mariano to tie the game up. So Mariano unusually struggled in this particular game. And he did pitch the entire ninth, but he left with it tied up. Now, this is a little bit out of sequence, but much earlier in the game, there was a rain delay, and it was an extensive rain delay. You can actually see the tarp on the field at this point. The entire time frame for the game was 4 hours, so it was a lengthy game as well. Um, Again, the second link that I have here is, we have the score and the box and everything you want to know about the game right here. But the other thing is you have quite a collection of pictures on this particular slide, but you have far more. If you click here, it's going to take you to a Shutterfly album. And in that Shutterfly album, you can see I have borderline 400 pictures from our day at Yankee Stadium, or actually our night at Yankee Stadium there. So you can explore that resource as well. But the Yankees once again prevailed. And so, as the score indicates down here, the Yankees won 4-3. There was a run scored in the bottom of the 10th that gave the Yankees the game. And if you want the specifics on what happened, that link in the lower right corner will give you all details about the play-by-play to try and answer that question. While we were in New York, we stayed right on Times Square. And so in addition to seeing the games at Citi Field and also at Yankee Stadium, we saw 2 plays. We saw the Nance. You can see the placard here, and once to the right of the tarp on the Yankee Stadium field. Right here, we saw both of those. I probably enjoyed once a little bit more than the Nance. We also took in the aircraft carrier Intrepid. You can see it right here. And inside, there is actually a space shuttle. And on deck, there are all kinds of aircraft. But one of the notable aircraft is a Concorde that you see here. We also ventured to South Street Seaport, within walking distance, really, of the Brooklyn Bridge. So you get quite a nice view. And one of the things that you see here is this several masted ship is actually the Peking, which in 2013 was at South Street Seaport. Au contraire, no longer there. It has been moved. And so that picture is a bit of an anachronism now. Carol and I did eat at one of my favorite places to eat in New York City. I like the Oyster Bar in Grand Central Terminal. You can see us in the lower left right there enjoying, I think, dessert from our meal. And so that was quite nice. You can see, I don't reference it, but we, on our venture to St. Patrick's, we also walked right past Rockefeller Center, so we enjoyed some of what that has to offer too. Last two bullets on this slide, we saw a Beatles tribute, the last bullet, and I only have the drums here, but there are many more pictures in that album at this link here of that Beatles tribute. And up on the top right here, I'll move the picture of me just temporarily to make the point. We took the number 4 train or subway from Grand Central Terminal up to the exit for the Yankee Stadium, and indeed, that's 161st Street. So we had really a very enjoyable visit to New York. We took in the Flatiron. I took a lot of pictures of the Flatiron. We saw 2 Hard Rock cafes too. One happens to be right at Yankee Stadium. The other one is right at Times Square in the upper left. You can see here a little bit of a placard. It's maybe difficult to read in the size of the screen that you're looking at right now. But New York is one of the cities that has multiple Hard Rock cafes, and that's always someplace that I like to stop in. Pictures of the the tall end of both the Empire State Building and the Chrysler Building here, and I think I may have covered all the um, pictures then. And so stay tuned, come back and check out the next chapter, which I'll record in the near future. Thanks again for your attention. I'm going to, we'll stop the share here. Oh yeah, I forgot to do one thing, which is to comment on my jersey here. And to really answer that question, again, I'm going to share my desktop to show you the back so it's as clear as possible. And let me clear stuff out of the way here. And indeed, you can see that my hero manager of the New York Mets, Casey Stengel, was indeed a player for, as well as the manager for the New York Yankees. And so I got this particular jersey to commemorate Casey's successful managing career with the New York teams. He was perhaps just a tad more successful with the Yankees than with the Mets. He's done something, I've commented on this before, that I don't think will ever be done again. Casey managed the Yankees to 5 consecutive World Series in 1949 through 1953. So there you go. That's my jersey.